Welcome to Retro Scale Modelling. This is part 12 of the Airfix Hellcat scale 1 to 24. In part 11 I put on the landing gear and painted the model. In part 12 I'll be putting on the flaps, then the decals and a little bit of weathering before closing up. So let's get into this. To begin with, I'm painting the locator light, so that's Tamiya X27 Clear Red, and it's the little red light just on the tip of the wing here. Well, it's onto the flaps, and as you can see I've already pre-painted these, and they're a simple case of marrying up the two parts together. There is a little insert of flap that goes in on the little one. You don't have to cement this if you want it to be free moving, but you can cement it as well. It depends on, as well, how well the bond is. They might not actually move because it is quite a tight fit when it goes together. So just bear that in mind. You may have to open up the recess points a little bit if you want it to be freely moving. With this next part, it all depends on how you're displaying your flaps, whether you're having them in the closed position or the open position. I'm not having mine in the open position. You have to put this little bar in, well, each side has it, but obviously I'm only doing the one line wing, and it just fits on the edge of the wing onto the bracket that's going to hold the flap. So you'll have to do this on all the way along the wing. It shouldn't cause you any problems though. So back to the wing. Now I'm putting in the joints here that are designed to fold up the wings. It's not necessarily important to have these like this. There is a part where you can just have them lying flat, but since I'm leaving all mine open, I thought it would be a good idea to show the work and the detail in them. So it's just a simple case of putting the framework onto the actual cover itself. The framework supplies, you don't have to scratch build it. So as you can see there, I've already put the first flap on. I done it off camera because you wouldn't have really seen it going on, but the other two go in very similar fashion. They just clip underneath your actual brackets that hold the flat, and all you do is push down the bracket into the housing, and it should stay there. It's a very tight fit. You only need a tiny bit of cement, and they push in really nicely, and it will hold, and so there's no need to try and hold it in position while the cement actually sets. The last one is slightly different from the other three. The bracket is different, if you remember correctly, and they just pop it in, similar to the other two, but there's less of an area for the bracket to hold in position, so you may have to hold it a little bit depending on how you put in those brackets and how good the location points are on the unit. The other side I tried wasn't as good as this side, so I'm glad I done it this wing. So now I'm just putting on the other cover for the hinge for the folding wings. Again, as I said, you don't necessarily have to do this, but I did, and I done on both sides of the wing as well. So even the wing that's in the framework form, I thought it'd still be good to display it. Next, there's three little clear parts you have to put in at the bottom of the fuselage here. Because I'm having it open, I'm actually cutting these in half to run flush with the framework. Obviously, if you're having the full fuselage together, these just pop in without any fuss, but because I've tried it. But obviously I'm doing it this way, so I'm having to cut them. Next to go on is the aerial mast. Now I'm not actually putting the aerial in on this model because of the nature of the build, but if you are putting the aerial in, it should just press in to the recess gap without much of a problem. But be careful, it is a thin part and it is prone to snapping, so just be delicate with it. And behind it there's two little clear plastic parts that go on it as well. Now the instructions don't say to paint this. I wasn't sure whether it should be painted or not, so I left them clear. And then for the next clear part is the location light. Again, that just fits right on the edge of the wing here. Use canopy glue if you've got any. If you haven't got any, you can use cement, but when you put it on, leave it for a minute or two to let the fumes go away before placing it on. That way you won't get any fogging. So as you can see here, I've started painting the canopy, and like always I do it freehand without tape. If I do make a mistake, all I do is go over with a cocktail stick and rub off any excess paint that's gone over the line. Now I'm leaving this canopy whole. Originally I was actually going to cut it in half. I've done it on the Typhoon and it worked out rather well, but the way this sits, I just thought it would be better having it like it is. But down the line I may take it off and decide to cut it in half. I'm still not 100% making my mind up on it, but for now I'm just working on it like it was intended. And always, depending on your camo scheme, it will obviously depend on the colour of the framework on the canopy. Because I'm doing it in the fleet arm colours, there's two colours, so there's the greyish colour and the sort of olive brown colour, so I'm reflecting that on the canopy as well. So now the canopy is dry, it's time to place it on, and I'm just fixing it to the part where the fuselage actually is. Obviously there's no fuselage on the other side to fix it, so it's more difficult to get the canopy to line up. And then for the second half of the canopy, I'm leaving it open, so it's going in the back position. This one really could have done with cutting in half, I think, looking back at it. So I may well cut it in half. So now it's the prop assembly. There's two ways you can approach this. If you're putting in a motor, there's one part different that you would have to put in. As you can see on the instructions there, right on the bottom right hand corner, it shows you the illustration for the motor. Also, I'm not putting a motor in, so it was a simple assembly. So I'm giving the model now a coat of Pledge Clear varnish. Just putting a liberal coat all over the model now before I place on the decals. I forgot to assemble one of the access doors on the underside of the fuselage, so I'm doing that now. And the inside is XF71 Cockpit Green by Tamiya, and the outside is Rebel Aquacolor 59 Sky. So the main colours again. It's worth going back through your instructions at this point as well to see if you have left anything off that you were leaving to the end. I was always intending for this to be done near the end of the build, and I just caught it in time really. And once the hatch is dry, it's just a simple case of marrying it up to the recess point there. The location points on the actual hatch itself is just one long bar, so it can be a bit tricky to line it up because it's a really tight fit as well. So if you don't want to ruin your paintwork, if you've done it like I have, you are going to have to be careful when placing it in. So it's now time to put on the decals. So you can see I'm fast forwarding this part. By this stage, most people know how to put on decals. If you don't, there's other videos that I've done that you can see them how they go on. The decals are it's a new kit, so the decals are fine. Just bear in mind on your paintwork, it gives you the option of a lighter coloured decal to a darker coloured decal. So make sure you're putting the right ones on. But the ones on the say the white are very difficult to see once you cut them off from the page. Just bear that in mind. I don't know the best way around it, tell you the truth, but when you cut them from the sheet and soak them in warm water or whatever solution you're using, they tend to blend in with the paper. It's really difficult to see them before you put them on the actual model itself. That may be because of my light as well shining off them. That could have something to do with it. But I thought it was best to mention it. So now the decals are on, it's time to give it another coat of varnish to seal them in. Make sure they're dry before you're doing this though. You don't want your decals to be slightly damp before you put your varnish on. So all that's left to do now is put the prop on, and that just pops in there. I'm moving on to Tamiya's Weathering Master B, and I'm using the suit component here, and I'm using this to do the weathering, so just straight set of dust from the wing foil all the way down through the wing, also parts at the side as well. Very little weathering actually going on here. Well, I'm going to bring part 12 to a close now. Indeed, that's the model actually finished. There'll be a separate video for the reveal. So I'll say Airfix has done a very good job on this kit. It's extremely detailed. You can get a lot out of it, depends what you want to put into it. You don't have to do it like I did it. You can have it fully formed, but it is an extremely kit. I would say only medium to advanced builders should attempt this kit as well. It's very technical, especially the engine block. But if you've never done ignition leads and so forth on an engine block, this is a good kit to have a go at, because the instructions for it are really good. So if you haven't done so already, check out the channel for the other parts of this build, or indeed my other videos. Subscribe to that channel. Of course, you can leave a comment and hit that like button. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Bye bye.